Thank you very much, everyone, for joining me. So the Pakistan World Cup squad has been announced today. What are your thoughts? You might think it's an excellent squad. Others might think, no, I would have picked so-and-so player instead of this player. You know, we all have our opinions. We all have our thoughts. I'm sure everyone would have had a different squad of 15. There's always points of debate regarding these squads when they are picked. I mean, my own 15 might be different to yours, might be different to the next person's. It's all about opinions, and everybody has their favorite players, and everybody thinks differently in terms of conditions and tactics, and what you feel Pakistan should select and where the strengths and weaknesses are. So let's look at the 15 players that have been picked. I must admit, overall, I don't think there were too many surprises. I think it was never going to be a case of players who've not played for a while in this format, who have not been playing domestic cricket. They were never going to be picked. I know Imad Wasim has been doing really well in the Caribbean Premier League and various other tournaments around the world. But at the end of the day, as Imam Ul Haq said today, he's not played ODIs for a while. And I think the truth be told, Imad himself probably prefers the T20 format over one-day internationals. People were suggesting Mohammad Amir to replace the unlucky Naseem Shah. But again, Mohammad Amir has not been playing much domestic cricket. He's been playing mainly T20s. He's retired from international cricket. So it would have been a huge surprise, despite Mickey Arthur liking both Imad Wasim and Mohammad Amir, for Amir to be brought back at such a late stage, having not played for Pakistan for so long. So for me, there weren't surprises. I know a few people were suggesting that both might be picked, but I don't think it was ever going to be a case of them being selected. So let's start from the top. Fakhar Zaman. Fakhar's been in horrible form recently. He's looked out of sorts. His footwork is never the best, but it's looked even worse recently. And his stats have been horrific. He had a poor Asia Cup, but he's one of those guys who, if he finds form, you know he's going to be one of the best players in the tournament. He can go out there and smash a century, 150. We've seen it in the past. The risk is, and the worry is he going to continue that slump that he's had recently, or is he going to find some form out in India? I think the batting coach needs to have a word with him. I think he's a player who plays at his best when he's confident. His confidence looks low. I think it's up to the team management now to really lift his morale and get him at the top of his game for this World Cup. Imam Ul Haq, yeah, I think he's another who's a definite for the squad. He'll go out there. Good conditions for him in India. Batting conditions, batting favourable pitches. So he should get quite a few runs. My concern with Imam Ul Haq has always been his strike rate and his ability to chase big totals. If you're chasing 300 plus in a one-day international, is Imam Ul Haq going to get you that 100 off 70 or 100 off 80 balls? Is he going to get you a quick half century at the top of the order? No, he's not. He's a player who's steady. He'll get you runs. You know, he's not going to get you that 100 strike rate. He's not going to, as I say, get those big scores. So I think Imam really needs to reassess the way he bats. Yes, the number of runs are fine. The average is nice. But he really needs to, especially out in India, he needs to lift that tempo a little bit more, take a few more risks. I don't mean running between the wickets, but I mean lofting the ball over the infield, taking on the balls a little bit more, because he's got the shots, he's got the stroke play, he can do it. But I think him and Fakhar need to up their game a little bit. Abdullah Shafiq, the backup opener, really. He scored a half century recently. He's not had many opportunities in his one-day cricket. Yeah, you could argue that maybe some others might have deserved a chance ahead of him, but he's got that silky touch. He's classy. Reminds me a little bit again of Imam Ul Haq, though, in that he's steady at the top of the order. he needs to lift his strike rate. If he gets the opportunity, then he needs to score faster. There's no doubt about it. He needs to take a few more risks, as I was saying about Imam, and up those risky shots. Take a few more risks as well. Babar Azam, world class, one of the best in the world. The thing about Barber is that I think he'll have a fantastic tournament. Yeah, the Asia Cup didn't end so well for him. His captaincy was criticised, but as a batsman, there's no doubt about it. He is he's just classy, isn't he? He's one of the greats at the moment. His captaincy will be tested. I think there'll be a lot of scrutiny on his captaincy. I think if Pakistan has a poor World Cup, I think the knives will be out and people will be questioning whether he should still be one-day captain or not. I know the management and the PCB have backed Babar Azam as a player and a captain. I think there's no doubt about his quality regarding his batting. It's his captaincy that he needs to work on. He tends to make the same mistakes. He tends to lack that that experimenting, that little bit of thinking out the box. It's always plan A, middle overs, he will bowl, end overs, he will bowl. Sometimes you've got to take those risks as a captain and have that plan B and plan C. And sometimes, just throw caution to the wind and surprise the opposition. I think Babar is one of those captains who rarely surprises the opposition. You can predict what he's going to do as captain, which it's easy for the opposition then. Mohammad Rizwan, yeah, dead cert for the squad, really, wasn't he? He's one of the key batters, and I'm sure he'll have a very good World Cup behind the stumps and as a batsman as well. Saud Shakil, a little bit of a surprise regarding Saud and his selection. I think I would have given him more opportunities. I think he's being chosen for the World Cup with very few chances. He's only played a handful of innings in one-day cricket. He's not done very well in one-day cricket. So you can argue, yep, he's not had those chances, those opportunities, but you've got to wonder why he's not had those chances. You're taking a player into the World Cup who has rarely played in this format, in the 50-over format. So it's a gamble, it's a risk. He'll be one of the backup players for the middle order. I like Saud. I think he's technically very good. Again, has he got that range of shots though for this format? Is he one of those players who, if you need 100 off 10 overs, is he going to be able to do that or not? We shall wait and see. Iftikhar Ahmed, yes, Chacha, as he's very fondly known. We've seen him play some fantastic innings. I think it was a dead cert again that he was going to be picked for this tournament. He has that capability of playing those wonderful innings. I just wanted to add some consistency to his game. Yep, you might get a 70 or 50 balls every now and then, but he tends to fail more often than he actually scores runs. Big tournament for him. I think he's another one of those guys who, if he doesn't do well at this World Cup, then we might not see him in this format for Pakistan again. We've got Salman Ali Agha. Yeah, similar to Iftikhar insofar as he can play those big innings every now and then. He's steady. He can bowl a few overs of off spin as well, which is useful, very much like Iftikhar Ahmed. And I think he got a lot of criticism at the start when he was chosen for international cricket. I think, excuse me, many felt that he was a Test cricketer rather than a white ball cricketer. So it's going to be interesting to see how he does. He's been selected regularly recently in the 50-over format. So he was one of those guys who was always going to be picked. Shadab Khan, I think a lot has been said, a lot has been written, and about Shadab Khan since the Asia Cup. I think everybody's got an opinion about him. He needs to lift his game, doesn't he? Bat and ball. Bowling, he's bowling one or two bad balls almost every over. The confidence isn't there. The spin isn't there. The variety isn't there. And with the bat, he's not been in great form either. Big tournament. Big players come good at big tournaments. Shadab Khan is a big player for Pakistan. He needs to have a big tournament if Pakistan are going to do well. Usama Mir, yep, backup leg spinner, I think, to Shadab. He's had a good county season in English cricket at Worcestershire, and also played in the T20 Blast for Manchester Originals. So I think he deserves his chance. He's more than useful with the bat as well. He can strike a few hefty shots around the ground if needed. So I think Osama deserves his chance. You know, he's waited patiently as well. So he'll be okay if he gets the opportunity. Mohammad Nawaz, good cricketer. People will say that he's steady rather than spectacular, and I agree with that. We want Nawaz to take the 3 wickets, the 4 wickets, and occasionally the 5 wickets per innings. He doesn't do that often enough, does he? You see him and he'll take 1 for 55 or 0 for 57 or 58 or whatever. Steady rather than spectacular. We've got too many of those players in the Pakistan team. He's going to be important because he's going to be the backup spinner to Shadab Khan. And, you know, he's been a regular in this format now. So another who needs to raise his game, lift his game at this tournament. Who we got next? Mohammad Wasim Jr. Not had many chances. I think some felt that he might not be selected. Zaman Khan might be picked ahead of him. But you know, Wasim Jr. is one of those all-rounders who's obviously just edged Fahim Ashraf out of the reckoning, who is decent with the ball. He's good with the bat as well. He's not too bad with in the field as well. Young guy, brings a bit of energy to the team, to the squad. Big tournament again for him. You know, is he at that level of you know, being that match winner? You know, being able to perform at this highest level. So far, we've not seen it very often, but his opportunity is there. Let's see how he does. As I say, some will feel that Fahim Ashraf should have been picked ahead of him. But he's somebody who can reverse the ball at the end of the innings. I just wish he'd had more chances going into this World Cup, because he's one of those guys, again, like some of the other boys I was saying, Saud Shakil, Abdullah Shafiq. They've not had many chances. So to take them into this World Cup, they're undercooked, they're raw. And it's difficult when you've not played much at this level to suddenly be thrown in at the World Cup and perform. So who have we got next? Hassan Ali. So who was going to replace Naseem Shah? Talk was that, you know, some even suggested Mohammad Hasnain, some said Zaman Khan, you know, some said Fahim Ashraf should be in there. I think Hassan Ali is a decent choice. Experienced, he's won the Champions Trophy where he had a fantastic tournament in 2017. Yes, it's 6 years on, but I think it's a safe option. Mickey knows him. He's performed well in the past, as Zaman ul Haq said at the press conference today. He's got experience. He's played in big tournaments. He's performed in big tournaments. So I think they've gone for safety first rather than a risk with Hassan Ali. Haris Rauf and Shaheen Shafi, the Pakistan's match winners with the ball when it comes to pace bowling. Obviously, they're going to be under a little bit more pressure that now that Naseem Shah isn't there, unfortunately injured. But both are capable of bowling brilliant spells, single-handedly winning matches for Pakistan. You know, Shaheen's early wickets at the start of the innings are going to be absolutely crucial for Pakistan. And Haris Rauf, especially in those middle overs, if he's given the ball, you know, to get wickets in those middle overs is going to be absolutely crucial for Pakistan. So hopefully both these guys will stay fit and bowl well for Pakistan. So I think overall it's a steady rather than spectacular squad. You know, you look at some of the other squads in the World Cup and you think, wow, these guys have got 6, 7, 8 match winners. I think Pakistan are limited in terms of the number of match winners they've got. You can say they've got a couple of world-class, maybe 3 world-class players within that squad. The other guys have a lot to prove. I think it's a squad that is, you'd say, middle range rather than in the top rankings. I know Pakistan are at the top of the ODI rankings, but when you look at the squad, it's a squad that's made up of a lot of players who can perform on the day but aren't consistent. The battling, I think, is the weak point. It lacks explosion, as we saw at the Asia Cup. You've got steady players at the top of the order. And I just hope it's not a case of them banking on the last 10 overs to score 100 runs. I want to see a little bit more action at the top of the order. I want to see more aggression. I want to see players taking more risks at the top of the order. Imam ul Haq and, Fakhar Zaman. Fakhar is the key, really, at the top of the order. If he's on song, if he's firing on all cylinders, then the other guys, there's not as much pressure on them. But Fakhar, as we've seen recently, if he gets out, then the likes of Imam ul Haq and Babar Azam and these guys, there's more pressure on them to perform and score quickly, which doesn't always happen. Yeah, you've got the likes of Iftikhar and others who can score quick runs towards the end of the order, at the end of the innings, sorry. But if you are 150 for 5 from 40 overs, then you're not going to get much more than 240, 250, which Pakistan can ill afford. The batting relies a lot on Mohammad Rizwan and Babar Azam. It has done for a long time. And I just hope that the other batters chip in, not just once in the tournament, but consistently. And, they really need to show their colours as well, instead of relying on the same guys again and again. The spinners, yeah, we've got steady spinners, haven't we? Shadab's been out of form, Nawaz is steady, and Osama Mir is relatively untried at the international level. We haven't got the spinning depth or the match winners with the in the spin department that some of the other teams have. I just wish that we had a match winning spinner who can go out there and take 4 or 5 wickets on a regular basis. You look at some of these, the likes of Adil Rashid and Yadav and these guys, and unfortunately we just have not got that. But I just hope that in those middle overs, Pakistan don't just go on the defensive and allow teams to score, run a ball or 7 or 8 runs and over. They actually go for wickets, they attack, because I think in this World Cup, the teams that are going to do well are going to be the ones who attack with the bat, especially at the start of the innings, and attack with the ball in the middle overs. I think those middle overs are going to be absolutely key. So overall, I think I wouldn't say Pakistan are amongst the favourites. It's a steady squad, as I said at the start. It's a squad that I think other teams will look at and pinpoint a couple of players. I think Pakistan will have to play out of their skins if they are going to win the World Cup. But we know what the situation is with Pakistan cricket. Never write them off. So good luck to the boys. Thank you very much for watching.